And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're better than ever.
Better than ever. Better late than never. We're back.
Thank you for continuing in your viewership or your listening-ship.
Or your sponsorship.
Yeah, because we are everywhere now.
We are everywhere now.
Are we?
We are. I believe we are. We went from YouTube, and at this point in time, we have, like 49 subscribers?
Last I checked, 49 subscribers on our YouTube channel, but that means, we've only had one episode out up to this point. By the time you actually view this, it'll be actually 3 more episodes. This is episode 4. So we're going to have a higher YouTube count at that point, and we're going to be everywhere. Apple, Spotify, our website.
Oh, wait.
Maybe some clips on IGTV. Maybe not.
Maybe the map. But that's why we rely on you sponsorships.
Yeah.
To get us there.
Thank you for viewing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Being a loyal follower and all that.
All that.
And if you are not, please do so. We would greatly appreciate it.
We definitely need some more pop filters at this point in time.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
Welcome to the Vink and Leather podcast. My name is Vily Klesnichenko. I'm your host.
And I'm Mark Schlahovsky. I'm your other host. We're very glad for you guys to be joining us here today.
Yeah, we're coming off of a long weekend of sorts. Well, it's the middle of the week, but, we just passed Labor Day.
We did. It was awesome. It was really good to, we had this big reunion with my family, and it was really good to see some of the old family members.
Do you count me as family?
I did. I invited Vily to my family reunion because Vily is family to me.
Yes.
They were like, I don't know about Vily, man. Like, should we invite him? Should we not? I was like, he's part of my family now. And yeah, so it was awesome. Really glad to see everybody and just spend some time with the fam bam.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see everybody and all the kids there and everything.
Yeah. Always a good time.
Always a good time. Holidays. Labor Day, though, the name kind of gets me.
Why?
Labor Day. It's a holiday.
But
it's like counterintuitive because Labor Day, you put in labor.
Isn't it kind of like a Labor Day where you just break free from labor? Yeah. So wouldn't it be something else?
So it
should be something
Play
else.
Day?
Play Day?
Play Day? Play-Doh?
Wait a second. You're getting ahead of yourself over here. Yeah, it should be called something else, not Labor Day.
Not Labor Day. So it should be called not Labor Day.
It should be called
Don't Labor.
Stop Laboring. Day. Stop Laboring Day.
Hyphen. Not or Labor Day. Not.
Labor Day. Pause. Not. No, yeah. Now that you brought that up, now that's going to bug me every time that Labor Day comes around. I'm like, man, I should be working right now. Labor Day. Should be or should not.
That's why some people that we know continue to work. They're like, I just can't get over that.
Can't get over it. Yeah. But hopefully at the end of this podcast,
yeah,
they might switch their mindset around.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
Anyway, Mark, what'd you bring to the table today?
What did I bring to the table? Vladimir, pick a number between
5.
1 and 6. 1 and 52.
I already gave you a number.
Dang it. Well, it's kind of hard to hide this one from Vily, but you were actually kind of close.
Was I?
You were kind of close.
I was kind of close.
Is
that a joystick?
This is not a joystick.
What is it?
This is a lacrosse stick.
Lacrosse stick. I thought it was like a fly swatter or something. Oh,
Here's
is that a fly swatter?
This is actually, this is an electric fly swatter.
Oh, okay.
/ lacrosse stick.
I'm just gonna lax boy.
Yeah, back in high school. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
This is also another stick.
Lax stick?
This is a pogo stick.
Oh, are you sure?
Actually,
it says air jack.
It does say air jack, but we can't be showing that on the video.
Why?
We'll get sued from like air jackets.
We would have been sued by Ahmad Lipton and IKEA by now.
And a football.
Wilson
football. Wilson!
Are we talking about sports today? Is that what you're trying to say?
Sports. Well, here we go. This one will mix you up.
Oh, shoot. Is that a puzzle?
Is that a puzzle? No, that's a classic sonata in C sharp minor, my friend.
It reads like a puzzle.
It reads like what kind of puzzle is this?
A B C una corda. C
So
sharp
yeah,
minor.
this is obviously not sports. There's also like a little composing notebook.
Okay, so we're talking about after school extracurriculars.
We even have a guitar.
A guitar. Did you come up with the song?
I did.
How does it go?
I actually came up with a song. It goes like this. Of ink and leather, how I love to sing. I made that song from the bottom of my heart.
Just now?
I did. And I hope that you guys would deeply enjoy that one.
Oh, thanks.
So these are the things that I brought to the table.
That's it? I see a couple other things.
Oh yeah, there's this one too.
What is that?
This one.
These one. These guys.
You can have
Is
your
it a
go
hammer?
at it.
Like
It's a hammer. Dong dong. Try it on the microphone. Dong dong dong. So yeah, it's actually.
show us how it's done. $100 if you do it the first time.
Okay. So here's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to kind of get the ball up on this thing, but it's not as easy as it looks. So just kind of get it like.
Oh, that was the first time.
So here's my last little thing that I brought to the table. But you know what? All of these are just my little toys. My little toys of life.
Little toys of life.
Little toys of life. What'd you bring to the table? There's nothing as cool as that.
Actually.
Ashley.
I
don't know. I don't think you can beat this one, my friend. Ow! Jeez! Get out of here! That was right in the ribs, man. Can't be throwing things at your ribs.
Right in the ribs. Got
things falling down.
things and stuff going everywhere.
Oh, jeez. And that's it. You brought a ball.
No.
I brought a couple.
I brought a tank.
Oh, you did bring a tank.
It just takes.
I don't like this one.
Why?
I just don't like this one.
Do you have bad memories with this one?
I do have bad memories with that one.
Aw. Poor Mark.
Poor Mark.
Poor Mark.
Yeah. We don't like people falling on them. Those things are actually kind of difficult. Those things are kind of difficult to work your balance on.
It's just like snowboarding, actually.
Is it though?
It is. Because foot position and everything else is just like you would be on a snowboard, and the way you move is the same way, just on the pavement. You don't need gravity to pull you down because you got a motor.
Yeah.
That's what's really cool about it.
I see
called
what's
the
up.
one wheel.
It's called the one wheel.
This one is specifically actually the one wheel pint.
One wheel pint.
So
where's
I
the
think
one wheel quart?
There's two of them, but they're in the one wheel gallon.
Oh, one wheel gallon. Okay. We can't say the other ones, or else we'll definitely get sued.
I got it wrong too, though. Actually, shoot, it's not 2 quarts.
Yeah, I was
going to
say 4 quarts in a gallon. You didn't drink your cups of
in a
water.
pint, 2 pints in a quart, 4 quarts in a gallon.
In a gallon.
That's how I
of
remember
milk.
from family and consumer science. That's how I remember my measurements.
Jeez. You take that course in college or what?
No, middle school.
Nice.
So, all of these things that you saw should give you a good guess of what we're talking about. If you're illiterate and haven't read the title literally posted everywhere, when you first open the video or whatever.
It's definitely not sports.
It's not sports, it's play. We're talking about the importance of play today. The importance of play. And it's an interesting topic.
Because it's definitely something that, we've always just had as growing up as a kid. It's always just been part of the development of our lives, And it's so funny, like starting out, you always hear your mom like, oh, go play with the kids, go play with the kids. And then like you just kind of scamper off and you just go play with your other buds.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, she said it more like, Иди играйся.
Иди играйся. Well, hey. Which is Russian for go play.
Yeah.
But it's much deeper than that. It's definitely it is.
Well, you would think that play is just play.
You would.
Is there something more?
Yeah. And everything that kind of encompasses playing as a development in one's life.
Okay, let's dive in. So,
Let's dive
play.
in.
Where does it start?
It starts from adolescence. Younger than that.
Adolescence.
Adolescence.
Okay, so let's go.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. Yeah. Episode 1. You're born. You open your eyes and you cry. You don't remember anything because you obviously were an infant. But you grow. And as you grow, you play.
True. You play,
You learn.
you learn. You
As
start
a
off
child.
crawling. You start off crawling
You
around,
crawl.
doing all these things, and before you know it, you're putting keys and stuff in your mouth,
Let's go back to your memories. Let's dive in real quick. What is your earliest memory
My earliest memory.
that you can recall right now? I'm putting you on the spot.
Actually, for real, my earliest memory is me hopping on my sister's back and pretending that she was a horse. Like a while back. That's probably like 3 or 4. Yeah, that's my earliest memory. Is me playing.
Same.
Wow.
Just not hopping on your sister's back, but
What was it?
for me it was hanging out with my cousins, and you bring up this memory. It's kind of like you bring it out of the archives, and it's like this golden file. It's like in this golden light. There's sunlight everywhere. I'm not sure.
Golden file.
I'm not sure if it's that way for you. Golden memories, but like
Little robot.
Somebody color coded it really well, color graded it, and it's summer. It's nice. We have popsicles. They have like a small little playground, and we're going down the slide and all these things. We have popsicles, running around the house, barefoot, and go on a car ride in an old car, one of those old Subarus. Like the one.
Subaru Outback, I'm thinking.
Subaru Outback, yeah.
Yeah?
Like the wooden interior still, like you got.
That sounds like the perfect summer memory. I'm just thinking of like encompassing or just like putting summer into like one thing. I feel like that would be like the perfect
That would be it.
summer day.
Yeah. So you start off as an infant, and that's, I'm sure that it's the same for a lot of you out there, that your earliest memory is going to be of you potentially with your parents, potentially with your friends or siblings or cousins or something like that at play.
Yeah. And we've always just kind of labeled play as just play. Like, oh, the kid, he's just playing with his friends. Like, let him socialize. As long as, I'm talking with, my friend over here, he can just go play over there. But we never really see the importance.
Is there something more going on?
Is there something more going on? Hello? No, but even in just like the root development of a kid, even stemming from the earliest memory, it all starts kind of from playing and experiencing new things. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, you take a look at all the studies that are out there. Actually, to cite one for you, pull this one out. I got my laptop back.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got my laptop charger back from Erie, so I could finally use this one again.
Oh, yeah. The other one was kind of crusty.
Oh, yeah, it was crusty. But this is pediatrics.aapublications.org. And it is a good website because it has .org.
.org.
So it's
you can surely trust it.
You can trust it.
I trust it.
But they say play is essential to development because it contributes to the cognitive. What does cognitive mean?
Cognitive.
Tell me like I'm 5.
Intellectual.
What's that?
Movement within your brain.
Oh, brain. Okay. Physical.
The physical.
Social. And emotional well-being of children and youth. Play also offers an ideal opportunity for parents to engage fully with their children. And obviously, this isn't the first article or the last that is going to describe the benefits of play. As you read further, you're going to get into all these other things of how play actually establishes all these things, how, it helps them to develop in all these aspects, like the cognitive, the physical, the social, the emotional, and they're all important. And you would think that play is just play, but we see that it helps in this development.
Of course.
It
It's so
helps.
funny. Even like this past Labor Day weekend, I just remember my nephew who is so much like me. You know, I see him just like
see
walking over.
So much of you and him.
It's so funny how much we're obviously related. But he's like walking up to me and he has sand just pouring out of his mouth, dirt all over his face. I'm thinking like, man, he must be in trouble. I'm like, hey, bud, you okay? And then he just smiles. He just smiles at me. He's like, just like my heart melts. I'm like, oh, poor guy. Like started like wiping him off. But like even in the midst of that, he's playing. He's throwing sand in his mouth. You know, he's doing all these things.
I bet you were one of those kids that put everything in your mouth. You're like, oh,
oh, microphone. No, but even that in and of itself, you're learning. You're okay, distinguishing. Okay, this is what I should do. This is what I shouldn't do. You know, especially in the context of everything. And it's not like just a cognitive thing. It's a social thing. It's a physical thing. It's an emotional thing. So play at the root level encompasses everything.
And it's teaching them something. It's
teaching them
helping them to approach the world and to learn about it. You know, they're putting things in their mouth out of curiosity. You know, that's how they learn. They're reaching for all these things. That's why you have to put padlocks, child locks, safety locks, and, you know, things on corners. Because, like, once they start walking and crawling, they're exploring everything. They're like, ooh, I don't want to get into trouble. I'm running.
I'm running with scissors.
Not scissors, hopefully.
Not scissors.
I had the scissors.
I'm running with my pogo stick.
Not at that age.
But it's all healthy. All healthy for, like, the kids to play. And it's funny because we just love to put play within adolescence or within growing up. And obviously, as we grow up, we don't call it play anymore. You know, we'd like to call it something else.
What do you call it?
What do I call it? Chilling, hanging out. You know, we obviously disassociate ourselves from play.
Why?
And more so with hobbying.
Why?
We just automatically just associated play with, you know, children-like things. But kind of at its root level, you know, hobbies in and of itself is just us going back to our roots. You know what I mean?
So it's just like people not wanting to label things correctly?
Well, there's just labeling.
I don't want to call it what it is. Like
labeling it differently, which is it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, we just associated play with childlike activities.
Mm-hmm.
But at its root level,
it's going back to
its roots.
Okay, so we're talking about how play is important for the development of young minds, right? Mm-hmm. How they approach the world, putting things in their mouth, picking things up, whatever, touching things, and they grow that way. They learn to interact with the world and with others. They become more social. Are there benefits of play after childhood, after that period of adolescence? Because, like, I mean, most of the articles and things I've seen, you know, are addressing children, are addressing, like, pediatric.
Of course. No, we know the whole saying. You know,
what is the saying?
The saying.
What is the saying?
We see it everywhere. We see it. Have you ever seen The Shining, or just any? It's a pretty well known saying, but what is it? How does it go? All work and no play. All work and no play makes.
It's boring.
It's very boring. All work and no play makes Jack
a dull
boy. And even that, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And that, in and of itself, is kind of like a childish, you know, kind of terminology that we're seeing here. All work and no play. We're seeing play, and we're seeing Jack being like a dull boy, you know, going back to like the childlike aspects of it. But regardless, you know, especially in this culture where it just seems to be all work and very little play.
Where does that happen? Like, where did it happen for you? You know, where you're here now, you don't play as much. Was there like a defining moment for you when there was less play in your life?
Well, once again, get some more
out.
tea. Steep some tea. You are running out, my friend.
Dude, I'm all ready.
Yeah.
Do you need more water?
I'll take some more water.
Water?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you get your 32 cups in.
32 cups. Should just be 8.
Okay, you were saying?
Oh, I forgot the question already. What was
Dang.
the question?
The question was there a defining moment in your life? So we're talking about how all work and no play
Makes
makes
Jack a dull boy.
right? Was there a defining moment in your life when you have less play going on in your life? Like, where was that moment?
There was a significant moment where it was like, nice. That is perfect. Perfect. No, a significant point in my life was most certainly whenever, I'm working full time, I'm schooling full time. Like I'm taking like 4 or 5 classes at the same time, still managing somehow to pull in 60 hours in a week.
Dang.
So
You pulling.
schooling full time, working full time, like full time. I don't
Okay.
know how I managed to do all this at the same time. I was definitely cutting, a few classes here and there. Still managing to get decent grades. Doing a whole bunch of other extracurricular activities. And my life just ended up becoming, wake up super early in the morning, go to work, come back, study a little bit, go to school perhaps, go to sleep. And that was my life for a solid couple months. And then I realized I'm like, okay, I got to cut back on some things because, in general, your psychological well-being shouldn't just be all about work. It shouldn't just be all about the hustle. And that was the defining moment in my life where I'm like, okay, boom, let's take a step back. Like I'm working way too much. My balance of life has been completely disrupted. And I took a step back and I was like, you know what? I'm going back to my root, going back to my passion, going
And
back
you
into.
went and put sand in your mouth?
And I put I put all the sand in my mouth. No, and I went back into like music production.
Nice.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to be working a little bit less.
Are you a DJ now?
And I am not a DJ. But if you want me to be the DJ, you can sponsor us and I'll be your DJ or something.
You heard?
But you heard. But yeah, going back to my root, and that is my passion for music. And cutting a lot less on work and just refocusing on what's actually important.
But work is important.
Work is important. And that's another thing is working hard and developing a good work ethic. Obviously that's important too, and it's a good mentality to have a good work ethic and to carry a reputation of a hard worker. Even our last episode was about excellence and being excellent in everything you do. And, very often in times we're like, oh man, work. And like that is where the problem lies, is whenever our entire life just completely surrounded by work. And
would you say that the environment that we grow up in kind of shapes us to get into this kind of mode? Or into this mentality of like when we all grow up? Because I'm sure that that's not just a case for you where you find yourself in this, but I'm sure it's the case for a lot of you.
No, of course. And like that's something that is just, we see it a lot in, the American culture, where it's a lot of it is just competition. A lot of it is just get with the hustle mentality, and it's like you're like trying so hard, getting all these motivational videos, and good to have a good work ethic. But we're just surrounded with this hustle mentality where everything needs to be done snippity snap, and we end up just being competitive with other people, and that's whenever it starts to become unhealthy.
Yeah.
Is whenever we see everything around us and we're like, okay, you know what? Psst, boom. And then suddenly you're enveloped by the other people that you see around you, And once again, having a reputation of being a hard worker, that's good. But there's always a life outside of work. And normally, like, people are like, what? Life outside of work? Once again, going back into this culture where we think that life equates to work. And it just becomes a circle of life.
Where does it start?
The
work mentality. Where does it start?
Well, right, just from key growth periods. Can I pinpoint?
Where?
Probably starting back from, you're in high school. You're already seeing all these different colleges, and you got to be competing with other classmates.
Man, I'm kind of feeling like that it's even before that. Honestly, I think so. Take a look. I mean, when did you have recess last?
probably the end of elementary school.
End of elementary school, like you're already being pushed into the kind of
The
work model, the mentality and everything, where you're going to school for 8 hours a day, come home, do more other things. Like they push more homework on you and recycle again and again and again. And you don't have recess anymore to enjoy in middle school. That was like a bummer when I,
That was a big bummer.
That was a big bummer when I came out of 5th grade, and I was like, dude, I would love to be a middle schooler, but there's no recess?
No recess?
I want to be held back.
That's funny. I actually remember the exact moment whenever somebody told me that we weren't going to have recess anymore.
Yeah.
Literally, like, my neighbor was, like, on his unicycle. He was a grade above me. He was just unicycling around. This is literally an exact
weird.
memory.
That's very strange.
And he was on his unicycle, and then he was just telling me, yeah, this is such a strange memory. It's just one of those strange memories. And then he was like, yeah, we don't have recess anymore. I'm like, what? No! You obviously you're like the king of tackle football and like all these, the monkey bars. And then like the beginning of middle school, you're like, oh man. So actually, now to come to think of it, it seems that the start of working, the start of like the hustle mentality, in a way, stems whenever they cut off play in its own way.
In a way.
Huh.
Yeah. And then it just continues to get steeper and steeper. And you're like in a full slide into that work mentality and no play.
All work and no play.
Makes Jack
boring.
Not like Elon Musk's company boring, because it's pretty cool. The Boring Company, it's not really boring.
Oh,
flamethrowers and stuff.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Dull. Yeah, dull. But work and no play. And now we're here. This period of adolescence, like we are growing up, we're playing, and it's good for you. And now we've been pushed into kind of like this model where it's mostly work and hustle, especially in the Western Hemisphere, where that's like so much of our focus, so much of our our drive, our goals and ambitions and everything are kind of focused around like work. I want to be a millionaire by 30. I want to be living in a 5,000 square foot mansion, have like a Maserati and a $200,000 condo in Florida, and you're like, work, I gotta get that. And a lot of people burn out from that.
Because like, once again, it's like you're waking up and you're thinking about work, and then you're done with work, and then what do you have with you everywhere you go?
Your brain,
your pogo stick, and your cell phone. 3 important things.
I knew that.
No, but we have our phones with you everywhere you go. And even whenever you're off work, boom, your phone is ringing, and then, you're like, oh man, your boss is calling you like, hey, I want you to be here tomorrow. And then before you know it, even outside of work, you're already thinking about going back into work.
Oh yeah, especially in today's day, like of the quarantine, we're sitting at home and the boundary kind of is erased. There is like no distinct boundary anymore between your work and your play, your relaxation, because you're 9 to 5, that you have to give to your boss, essentially. 5 o'clock hits and you're still kind of like working or thinking about emails and things, and a lot of us can get stuck in that kind of trap where we're continuing through the rest of the day, maybe eating dinner with fam or whatever else, but back of our minds, at the very minimum, there's still work. Like, what? How about that plan? How about that thing? That Excel spreadsheet? That project I'm working on. Expel
pet sheet.
Red beat.
And then like sometimes like we oftentimes take our stresses back home with us. And then it's like, then the boundaries of work and play have definitely become like borderless in a sense,
So it's important to come back to the roots, like you said at the very beginning. Come back to that play mentality. Go back to, you could even say, that adolescence of sorts where you're going back to play. Because it is it is an old proverb, but it is a true proverb, and that's why it's stuck around for so long. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. A person who's going to be focused on work 24/7, they're going to be boring to be around, because like that's all they focus on. They're not going to be conversationalist on really much other topics. They're not going to engage with you on other things, or maybe because like they don't experience it, but like they have a shallow, I guess, depth of knowledge in all these other subjects and things.
It's funny how like almost every conversation outside of work begins with like, "Oh man, how's work?" Like almost every like good. I'm just doing.
How about you? Good.
Oh, what do you do for a living? And it's like
I work.
What do you do? I work too. Like obviously developing a good work ethic, very good. But like whenever it's like becomes our daily conversation and everything that we're surrounding ourselves with, that's whenever things get a little hairy. And you can definitely tell, like, whenever somebody just always talks about work and they're just completely enveloped out, like, with work, and then and you can just obviously see that, like, the whole psychological well-being of a person, whenever they're surrounded by work, just falters, And that's why you see even, like, some of the like the CEOs, the presidents, they have something that they use as an outlet.
What?
As an outlet.
What?
Oh, well, presidents, golfing,
Dang.
President Trump,
CEOs.
How much, I don't know, I can't recall how much he actually golfs. And this doesn't have to get anything political, but regardless, just like the stresses of being a president, sometimes you have to, release. Sometimes you have to use an outlet. And the stresses of being a president, even these prominent figures that we see throughout history, they have some kind of passion that they use as an outlet from their work. These CEOs, they're not just always thinking about how they're going to finish the next objective. They have a life outside of work.
Do they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they work a lot. I mean, we see a lot of these big time CEOs. They work a lot, and sometimes it definitely falters whenever they're always working. But we definitely notice this thing where whenever you do have this outlet, you actually end up becoming more productive at work.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's something I'm trying to not say as much.
What?
It's interesting.
Oh, it's interesting.
We say that a lot.
We have said that a lot.
You noticed?
Maybe
Can you tally up?
Yeah.
How many times per episode we say that's interesting?
Yeah.
Or what's the other one?
I don't know. I say 100% a lot.
100%.
100%.
100%.
100%. Like under my breath.
I think you've rubbed off on me.
If you guys tally up how many times we say that's interesting, we'll give you
a prize.
This coaster.
This ugly one.
These ugly coasters. But
yeah, so work. It's good to have work, good work ethic and everything else, but it's good to play. So we come back to play, and whatever play looks like to you, top CEOs, presidents, they golf, they do other things in their spare time to kind of relax, release the stress. Another article I want to pull up for you, actually. It's another .org website.
.org.
It's going to be in the show notes. The importance of adult play. While play is crucial for a child's development, it is also beneficial for people of all ages. Play can add joy to life, relieve stress, supercharge learning, and connect you to others and the world around you. Play can also make work more productive and pleasurable, as we just said, right? So we take a look at this, play can relieve stress. You have work in your life, like you have no more boundaries, especially nowadays. Having something to relieve that stress, is good. It's going to trigger the release of your endorphins in your brain, the natural feel-good chemicals,
The feel-good chemicals.
Yeah, and your overall sense of well-being is going to be promoted. It could even temporarily relieve pain.
Even summing off of that, there was a 2009 study There was a 2009. There was a 2009 study.
Irrelevant.
That the more
2009.
2009, 2019, 2020. There was a study that said the more time that you spend on leisurely things, it definitely lowers blood pressure. It lowers the levels of depression and just fixes, the cortisol levels, which in turn relieves stress. Yeah.
Improves brain function.
Brain function, Excel spreadsheet.
Function.
Cinnamon.
Yeah, I have trouble with words. Playing chess, completing puzzles with friends, family, pursuing other fun activities. It actually helps you with memory problems and improves brain function. Have you ever heard, like the study of how solving puzzles helps people keep away from Alzheimer's? I could
Solving puzzles.
Like solving puzzles can prevent Alzheimer's, like Sudoku, crossword puzzles, and things like that. For example,
it can prevent.
It's
Alzheimer's.
preventative of it's preventative of Alzheimer's and other degenerative diseases in later life, in your later years. So is along with playing music, which
Playing
music. Speaking more than one language. Yeah.
What? Yeah. We speak more than one language.
Pensez-vous que la verse est rude?
Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît.
Stimulates the mind, boosts creativity. Young children often learn best, which we already hit upon. That's kind of how they learn the world around them, But the principle applies to adults as well. A lesson is going to stick in your mind more if you're enjoying the lesson, right? If you're going to be like, ugh, this sucks. Yeah. Like, you can remember classes where the teacher made something fun, an experiment or something like that, right?
Yeah, it becomes more stimulating.
Yeah. Adding play stimulates the imagination, helps you adapt and solve problems. It helps improve, what is that for? 1, 2, 3, 4. Improves relationships and your connection to others. Sharing laughter and fun.
Wow. We're seriously having fun here. Seriously having a good time here.
Can help foster empathy, compassion, trust, intimacy with others. And play doesn't have to include a specific activity. It can be also a state of mind. Apparently it says that. Ooh, that's good for another thing, another point we're going to hit up on. But developing a playful nature can help you loosen up in stressful situations, break the ice with strangers, make new friends. If you're bad at making friends, you just learn to play. Form new business relationships. So, playing Catan, playing Uno, playing Monopoly are really good for your relationships.
But are they really?
How many relationships has Uno ruined in your life?
At least all the friendships, especially whenever you hit that reverse card, draw four.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like that's not really play anymore. Then you're just like losing and not having a good time.
You're just a sore loser. And fifth point, play can help you feel young and energetic. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing.
Yeah. It's like even in the midst of responsibility, there still has to be the balance of life.
There's got to be that play.
There's got to be that play. Because life doesn't revolve around work.
Does it?
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
For some people.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. I don't know. Okay. So that leads us where? We talk about how play is good for adults as well, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But what about too much play? Is that a thing?
Too much play. Yes, definitely is.
I'm going to get more tea.
Get more tea. Go for it, brother. Too much play. It's definitely worse whenever you substitute. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Okay, yeah. Whenever you substitute responsibility with play. No, I'm okay. I'm all right.
Okay. All for real?
All for real?
Actually good.
Like you definitely see, not saying anybody's.
Can there be too much play?
Yeah. I'm not trying to say anything specific, but there's obviously, a lot of people.
You don't want to get the honey on the table and this will be good. Or the carpet.
We gotta get a coaster for
That's how we're gonna get ants.
We gotta get a coaster for the honey too.
Sponsor us so we could get more coasters.
All the coasters that you see behind us.
Yeah, toasters.
But yeah, you definitely see certain people that have replaced, responsibility with play. And that's also kind of an issue as well. It's like whenever you're constantly playing and you're constantly shaking your spoon in your teacup. That's an issue. Oh, man.
Oh, sorry. Was that annoying you?
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It wasn't.
Oh, for real?
The only thing that annoys me is the reverse card in Uno.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, too much play.
Too much play. Can there be such a thing as too much play?
Yeah. Whenever it diverts your attention and your life just ends up becoming one long recess.
One long recess. Do you know anybody that is not serious about life, or you're like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. Obviously, there's certain people in this world. Yeah, no, there's certain people. There's certain people that don't have a goal. They don't have a vision, and ultimately, life is just like a circle, like the cycle of life, and just repeat and repeat and repeat. And it's definitely important to have this balance of life, work and play in moderation, stemmed like with vision. There's a lot of people that lack vision, and eventually life just becomes one long recess again.
You look at some people, out there, and you're like, oh man, what do you do for a living? How can you afford to get away? Like,
What do you do for
literally, I see you're on Instagram and you're traveling the world like 24/7.
Is that a bad thing though?
Is it?
Is it?
I don't know. Is it?
What if it's like,
Are you doing anything else with your life?
okay, yeah, well, if it's almost become like,
I guess that's a different discussion
Yeah,
that
that's a
we're
different
kind of
discussion.
getting into. It like, what if that's kind of my life? What if I can afford to go on vacation like every weekend, fly to Ibiza or whatever? Or maybe you are making money doing what you love, like travel vlogging or something like that. That's
and
just
if
really
if-
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
if
awesome.
you can dive into a career in which you're just completely passionate about, and where work literally becomes play,
Then it's good.
then all the power to you.
But okay, now let's go to the people that do work. Because we have those people that are just like all play. You're like, oh, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Or there's people that are out there that aren't even that successful. Like they don't go to travel or whatever else. They have the aspirations, but they don't have the work ethic to achieve what they're saying that they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Like
They're
I
not
want
achieving
to.
excellence.
They're not
in their
achieving
work.
excellence. Like I'm not gonna go to college. I'm gonna work construction, or I'm doing like this MLM scheme that's going, like my friend from middle school told me about, like, and I'm going to get rich.
Well, yeah. It's not even so much doing construction or
Right,
anything,
right,
but
right.
in the grand scheme of things, lacking vision, Not saying that construction is bad or anything,
No.
but just overall, if they're lacking the vision in life.
Just usually that's like the form for most Slavic
people. Yeah. Yeah.
But they lack a vision of sorts, and they're kind of like looking for the easy path in life.
Mm-hmm.
They're constantly hopping from one thing to the next. Like, what's the fastest way I can make money to sponsor like this luxury lifestyle that I want? Like, can I start an online business which I don't have to touch, and it's going to, like make all the money for me? Oh man, okay, here's the next thing. Like, this is gonna be good. Drop shipping, foreign currency, foreign exchange. And don't get me wrong, there's people out there that do it and they do it well, but like that's not the case for the majority of people. And it's just like the allure of doing something that seems easy,
and it kind of just, you're hopping from one thing to another,
and they don't stick with it, and they're kind of like always like trying to cut all the work so they can always play.
Exactly. And so kind of transition into, where do we see this balance?
Today, we kind of have an issue oftentimes, I would say, in the workplace. where people are at play even at work. Because like this doesn't just isn't just an issue for those people that I'm talking about, like luxury lifestyle type of deal, right? They're hunting for that, hopping from one thing to the next, and can't keep a consistent job for more than 3 months. But like even for a person who has a steady job and things like that, the way we define play today, entertainment for us is different from the entertainment that we had before. And for us nowadays, play often becomes this. You know, scrolling through Instagram and looking at what others are doing, you know, texting or looking at memes, doing BuzzFeed quizzes to find which kind of ice cream flavor are you based on your, you know, the TV shows you like or something like that.
Yeah.
And that kind of like invades the work sphere too.
It definitely does.
So you see all these people that are, you know, doing this kind of stuff. You could say play at work. And I've been in those shoes too, you know. You don't feel good.
Yeah.
After that, you think you're like, you know, I'm taking a break. It's good. Like,
but then your whole day is riddled with
you're not being productive. You're
Yeah.
not getting anything done. At the end of the day, you look back and you're like, what did I do?
what exactly did I do?
What did I accomplish?
Yeah.
And you did neither one nor the other thing, because like you weren't fully at work, you weren't fully at play either.
I feel like, especially with the rise of technology, that's always been a struggle, is learning to do one thing and one thing at a time. You know, like within everything we do, like we're always multitasking. We're always doing multiple things at the same time. Like we're never really living life or really focusing on one thing at a time. Think about like every time that, you know, you're in a line. You know, before technology, you just wait in a line, and although it becomes kind of boring, you know, you're still...
You might have conversation with the person in front of you
You can have
or
a
behind you.
conversation with the person in front of you, behind you, like, hey, what the heck? Like, I bought that TV last week. That's awesome. And then like, you're not actually living life, because as soon as you're in a line, boom, there goes your phone. You're like looking through Instagram and just trying to connect with other people, and breaking off of life and just diving into technology. That definitely bleeds into like the work environment, because even whenever you're sitting behind the computer, how easy is it to just play the game of Minesweeper, or, you know, look up Facebook Marketplace at, like, all these different things. It's just so easy because it's just at the touch of your fingers.
Yeah.
So very oftentimes,
Focus on one thing, you know.
very oftentimes
Going
we
on-
have we just have so much trouble focusing on one thing.
It's interesting.
We have to
cut
break
myself.
it. That was at least $305.
And
$305. Yeah. What's so interesting?
Focusing on one thing out, like at a time, you know.
Oh yeah.
Before, like you were saying, you're standing in line. You can be alone with your thoughts at the very minimum, even if you're not interacting with somebody else, like a stranger in line, and, you know, hey, how's it going? Or like you were saying.
Yeah.
People are kind of like scared to be alone in their thoughts nowadays, and we've kind of forgot how to do that.
Yeah.
And I would say that's affected our play. That's affected our work as well. Because if you're... Man, this is like opening up a whole other...
I know.
Like, you aren't alone in your thoughts, but that's like how you're going to become, you know, more entertaining. You're going to be developed more, because like you're putting your brain to use. You're instead of like going the shortcut, because it is kind of work too.
Yeah.
We say it's play, but it's work too at the on the other side of things.
Yeah.
Like, this expands the topic a little bit, where you're exploring your curiosity. If you allow yourself to be bored, your mind is going to come up with ways to keep you occupied, or to have a little bit of fun or other things, you know.
Yeah.
As a child, that's what they do. Their imagination like you let them run wild, and like the kids come up with the craziest things. Like back when I was a kid, my cousin and I, we would go into the woods. Like we'd find a stick, and it's like now a sword. We have tennis balls, and like they're grenades. Like we had a fort in the woods and all these things, and your imagination runs wild. And we're kind of like breaking that in our children by allowing them to have all these devices from early on.
Yeah.
And we're breaking that in ourselves by, not limiting ourselves.
Yeah.
Like you said, what's your reaction?
Touch of your fingers. Yeah.
So it's another aspect right there.
It starts with us too.
Yeah.
It definitely starts with us because once again, our kids and all the children that you see is just them seeing what you are doing, what their other people's children are doing. If another child has like an iPad, what do you see? You see like all these other children just like run up like, "Whoa, what are you watching?"
I watch you play.
Yeah, and then like once again the creative aspect of everything that we've once encompassed kind of just zone into an iPad.
And you don't know how to work. You don't know how to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Technology is, I said it again.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But focusing on one thing at a time,
Yeah.
We're going into the next point right here. Efficiency. We're looking for efficiency in everything.
Efficiency in everything.
Efficiency is king.
Efficiency is king.
If your car is not as fuel efficient as, a Tesla, you're doing it wrong. Your computer is not as efficient. Like we want efficiency in everything. Our technology, our cars, our computers.
Oh yeah, computer processing is just doubling every year, or some it's just like a crazy.
No, it's going exponentially.
And
Big words.
Big words. Once again, if like efficiently trying to make our lives faster, make everything run smoother,
And that's not the stopping point of it, because it goes on, and we are looking for efficiency in the self too.
Oh yeah.
But like how can I be like more of a person? Like how can I be more superhuman?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to chug 5 coffees by 9 a.m. and I'm going to, like what are the life hacks to make sure that I could get the least amount of sleep and like I can work. Like,
yeah.
You
how do
look
I
at life hacks and all these tricks and things like that.
Yeah.
Riding to work,
Yeah.
on your commute, on the bus, or what do?
You put on your headphones.
Why?
Put on your headphones, listen to some informational video, some motivational video.
Listen to a podcast on how to do life.
Listen to 3 podcasts at the same time.
Yeah, you're like, I can make the most out of my commute. I can do everything. And you're like, everything has to kind of stack in a way so
yeah,
I can get the most done.
How to be a speed reader.
How to be a speed reader. Read fast.
People
I can teach you.
People want to read fast. Like, oh, okay, let's go. Let's just slam through these books.
Can't read the classics. You would need to read 60 books in a week.
Yeah, because we could be listening to audiobooks at this point. And once again, faster. Efficiency.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Self-development is good.
It's important for the whole psychological well-being.
Yeah. You want to, if you are overweight, you want to cut weight. If you are fighting depression, you want to get better,
Mm-hmm.
Where you are deficient in some aspects, you want to, break those deficiencies or like strengthen your weaknesses.
Of course. No, of course.
But then there's like this this line that we kind of have crossed, or we constantly cross nowadays, where we're looking like more efficient in everything.
Yeah.
And it's not good to overdo it.
It's not. That's one of the biggest, I guess, things in my life that I'm realizing is moderation. Moderation in everything. We want to be hardworking. We want to be the very best at, a certain career. But a lot of times, we've just become just so overwhelmed by, the expectations of this life. And we completely forget that life isn't just surrounded by work, with everything. With everything, there's moderation.
So how do we solve this issue of like restlessness that we were just hitting upon?
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about how, like the boundary is kind of erased.
Boundaries have become...
We're looking for efficiency and everything, and kind of like doing work and play and everything else at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Going into, like what the answer is. Theodore Roosevelt. Quite presidential.
Very presidential.
Very presidential.
I like Theodore Roosevelt.
Did you know?
He was a very good...
Did you know the guy?
Did I know the guy? I did know the guy through all of his writings and what people wrote about him. He was one of those presidents that was just an excellent conversationalist.
He was excellent in a lot of...
He was excellent in a lot of things.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. What about Theodore Roosevelt?
Theodore Roosevelt had to say, "I wish to see our people hardy, vigorous, strong, able to hold their own in whatever test may arise. I wish to see them able to work and able to play hard. I believe in play, and I like to see people play hard while they play. And when they work, I do not want to see them play at all."
Definitely ties in very sweetly.
Interesting, right? Well, and there's another quote by another Theodore. Adorno. Not Roosevelt.
Not Roosevelt. Theodore, the not Roosevelt.
To sum that kind of up, work while you work, play while you play. This is a basic rule of repressive self-discipline.
This is a basic rule of repressive self-discipline. Honestly, that is definitely an issue that, I even see definitely in my own life, where it's like I'm working, and then I do set aside time for play, but even in the midst of playing, I'm not playing. I'm still thinking about other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely an issue that, I've always just had, but working whenever you're working, making sure that you're focusing on your work, and then whenever you're playing, it doesn't need to be about work.
Gym class hero.
Gym class hero. Work hard, play hard.
Yeah. So he's saying that this is how restlessness can be cured. Or actually, Theodore Roosevelt is not saying this. Theodore
not Roosevelt.
Not Roosevelt. Adorno. Adornob. The Art of Manliness, quoting an article.
Oh, yeah.
Post that. But restlessness occurs when we mix play with our work and work with our play. A failure to keep these pursuits separate robs us of enjoyment and pleasure in our play, and of effectiveness and satisfaction in our work. So, and he takes Theodore Roosevelt's quote to answer this malady. This is how we solve it. Work while you work, play while you play, and make sure there's that distinct separation. Don't mix the two. When you're at work, don't be scrolling through memes or going to BuzzFeed quizzes. Don't be looking through Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever. You're like, hey, after work, I'm going to go and pick up a mountain bike, or, whatever else you're looking to do. You're moonlighting, maybe. You have a side hobby.
Like
podcasting?
What? Podcasting? Are you playing right now?
I'm seriously having a good time.
Having a good time over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this in and of itself.
This is play.
This is play.
Actually, it really is.
It really is.
A lot of work obviously goes into producing a podcast episode. A lot of work goes into, it has gone into already to do everything that you see here or everything that you're listening to right now to produce this. However, it is
it's
fun for us. It's not something that we kind of like, we're like, okay, how are we going to become millionaires? Let's start a podcast. It's more so, we're like, hey, this is something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I want to let's do this. Let's try this out. And we kind of brought in woodworking. We kind of brought in, videography, sound design, all these things. And we're growing better at them. We're playing hard. It's work, you could say, but for us, it's play.
It's a deep passion.
Yeah.
This, in and of itself, podcasting, It doesn't stem from us wanting to become like big millionaires, but it stems from the passion there to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, definitely say that we're playing right now.
Yeah. But so if I were to take this and mix it with, work and my day-to-day job, if I'm like focused between here and there, I'm not going to get this done as efficiently. I'm not going to get that done as efficiently. I'm not going to enjoy the play that I'm mixing with the work because I'm kind of like, oh man, I got to make sure I'm answering these emails or whatever.
Yeah. My brother once told me, and I can't recall if I said this already in another episode, but he once told me, be the best at whatever it is you're doing. So like, or not even so much being the best, but like focusing all in on whatever it is you're doing. So if you're hammering a nail, you're hammering that nail. If you're playing a guitar and just making some music, that's what it is. Because then if you're like always thinking about, the objective you're going to be accomplishing tomorrow, then you might as well just, start working on the objective, because you're not really fully playing. You're not fully immersed into it. You're not really developing the creative aspect, and your mind is in two separate areas.
Yeah.
Work when you work, play when you play.
Yeah. Bringing us to our next point, play. Like all these things that you were mentioning, do you consider them to be play? Music? Like we're talking about sports, we're talking about art.
Oh yeah.
Video games.
No, for sure. It's definitely beautiful. Like starting something new. I remember whenever I first started playing the piano, like it's a deep passion, It starts with a spark. And then before you know it, you're playing these difficult pieces, and at the end of a couple years, you're like, wow, I really do feel accomplished. And it's crazy to see how playing just develops lifelong skills. It starts with something small. It starts with, learning how to play the guitar, learning how to play the piano.
Are you good at guitar?
Am I good at guitar? Did you not hear the song I made? It's about our podcast.
Oh, it was really good. Good job, Mark.
I noticed your eye twitching, which is a sign that you're probably lying. Definitely lying over there, which is fine. It's fine. I'm seriously having a good time. Playing develops these lifelong skills. And that's something I never really noticed whenever I started playing the piano or started to record some music. But it's just all about learning these new things that really sets you up for a lot later down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it, and granted, for Bobby or whatever, you have fun playing piano. For Bobby over there, it's a chore.
Mm-hmm.
Like his parents pay for his lessons and force him to take classical piano, and he hates it. It's not really play for him. It's
work.
Yeah. That's another interesting topic like that we could dive into there. But a lot of the skills that I have in my life, a lot of the things I've learned have come from, that curiosity that stems into play, like taking up new hobbies, taking up like other interests, like going fishing, exploring, caves, rock climbing, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you become good at these things. And sometimes like a lot of these areas, things overlap. The older I grow, the more I realize, like there are skills in your life that like overlap into other areas. You would think they have no like relevance to
the grand scheme of life
or another area of your life. For example, you would think that photography, for example, I took photography at some point. I was a photographer's assistant for a couple of years. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I bought myself a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working. I started my own thing. And I'm like, this is great. I'm learning how to do all these things. Later on, I realized, hey, actually, I don't quite like this as much as I thought. And I kind of like left it aside. Put it off as a hobby. I'm like not really pursuing photography anymore, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay to do. you pursue play, you realize that's not what you want to do, you put it aside. That's okay. But like coming back now, years later, I still have my camera. I haven't sold it off. And I'm getting back into, doing creative work. And the skills that I learned in that earlier season of my life with photography kind of have transferred over into videography.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Now I'm like doing something else that I really enjoy, and I'm seriously having a good time.
Seriously having a good time.
And like that's a closer one, because like you could see how that would play into the next. You're like, okay, the skills from that obviously transfer from that, but there are a lot of obscure ones that in your life that you could think of that like you're like, where's the connection between that? There's like no correlation. Is there a correlation? Is there a causation? It's interesting.
It is interesting.
I did it again.
You did it again. But I like the point that you brought up where it's like you start somewhere. You start with photography. You bought a couple nice cameras. Oh, hey, that's fantastic. But then it just kind of just develops into something else, You start with photography. You bought a couple nice cameras. That's great. But then as you continue to water this seed that you've sowed, it continues to develop into something greater. And now look, we've constructed a whole podcast studio. You're really
did a thing.
You're really into doing videography now. You're doing videography for the church. You're opening up. Hey, by the way, Vily Visuals, absolutely check it out. Vily Visuals. It's just developed into something that is absolutely beautiful. Whenever I first began playing the piano, it starts off from one note, from the middle C. Always starts from middle C. And then before you know it, your left hand is playing something, your right hand is playing something.
At different speeds.
At different speeds, different tempos. Before you know it, then you're picking up the guitar, then you're picking up the bass, maybe a little bit of drums, singing, doing some beatboxing, play the saxophone. Then it just grows. It grows into something absolutely marvelous. And it all starts from you starting from middle C.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So, I think that wraps up really nice.
Yeah.
Brings us to our conclusion. Work when you work. Play when you play. Work hard, play hard.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Boring.
Makes Jack very boring.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Learn to work when you work, play when you play. Have a distinct separation in your life between those two areas, and you'll be better off. You're going to find yourself a lot less restless.
Yeah.
And better at what you do. More productive. You're going to have more fun when you have fun, and you're going to be a lot more productive when you need to be productive.
Yeah. And everything, moderation. That's another subtopic that we can also dive into, is just moderation. But that works beautifully here.
Yeah.
Because we don't always want to be working. We're just super tired at the end of the day and completely forget about all the other aspects of life. Life doesn't surround around work.
This is a reminder for you.
Yeah.
There's other things in your life that, have value and that you could potentially pursue and find enjoyment from, find meaning in. So, and if it's been a while since you've played, go out and play.
Yeah. Sometimes we just got to try something new.
Pick up a new hobby, pick up guitar. All you got to do is find a guitar, go to YouTube and hey, how do I
start from the G chord?
How do I play C on piano?
Or I start from middle C.
Find something that you've been interested in, that you've been thinking about, in the back of your mind. If I could be doing something other than work, what could I be doing? That in the back of your mind, try it.
Yeah.
You never know where it might take you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And with that, I'm your host, Vily Kolesnichenko.
And I'm your host, Mark Schlahovsky.
Signing off.
Yeah, dude.
Seriously
having a fantastic time here.